Okay, you want to learn Figma Weave, and let me tell you, you've come to the right place. My name is Bobby, and I've been running 100 Creatives, 100creatives.com. It's a creative agency. We work with consumer brands, mainly apparel brands. We do AI photo shoots for them using Weavy. And myself, personally, I've been working with node-based workflows for over 2 years. First, it all started with N8N, and now then we switched to Weavy when I found out that this is basically N8N for creative work. And so I've built tons of workflows. I'm going to show you exactly how I use Weavy. We're going to give you a little tour of how to get started and basically make the best of your subscription. Which models do I use, but which nodes do I use, the framework that I use to make workflows that generate really, really dope visuals. And so let's get started. Let's get the fluff out of the way. So when you go to Figma Weave, which used to be Weavy AI, you land here on this web page. And so you're going to sign in, obviously, right? That's why did I even say that? So you're going to sign in, and you're going to see a file, and you're going to see your dashboard. So in this is the place where you're going to see all your workflows you've ever created. And as you can see, we've got tons of them. So we've basically built workflows for clients, for other agencies, for our own work. And we have some templates that we use and tweak things in them so that we can make sure that we only have to make a workflow once, make it really, really freaking good, and then keep on iterating for the brand, for the task that we have at hand. But let's just start a new file. So basically, you're going to come to an empty place, and you'll see all these tutorials and stuff. But it can be overwhelming if you don't know any basics. So I start with a new file. And so when you create a new file, you're going to basically go to a place where you're going to see a blank canvas again. And you're going to have some credits here. This is the task section. Basically, as soon as you run a task, it's going to be showing up there. Real quick, if you are working with Weavy Lots, we have a free community where you can get links to these workflows. So you'll see the link just underneath the description. Go ahead, join. All these workflows will go in there, and you'll be able to ask me questions and hang out there. Cheers. But you need your first node. And so we need to get used to these tools. So you see this sidebar here. This is where you'll see all the tools that you can use. So in the first, you've got toolbox, like compositor, crop, the like basic things. Then you've got image models. So lots of image models. That's a lot. And then we've got video models, which is amazing because the thing I like about Figma Weave is that they bring in like new models right away. And it's just there. Everything is just there, and it makes no sense to go elsewhere. And I'm not saying that because I have something against other softwares or Figma is paying me to say that. Like, they're not doing that, and I wish they were. And even if they weren't, or they were, I would still say the same thing, which is just true, that everything is at one place. Anything that you really need for your videos, for your images, it's there. You don't need to go anywhere else. You just need one subscription. Sure, it might be a little bit expensive than other software, but I just don't think it's worth the hassle of switching back and forth from different models. And then we've got some 3D models, which I rarely use. My line of work doesn't really need that. And then we've got some music, which is kind of cool. So now what we want to do is, the first thing that we really need is a prompt. And so I'm going to come here in the canvas, and I'm going to right click and just put a prompt in here. Okay. Then let's say if we're creating an image, you can literally just like write a prompt, create an image of a horse that is pink drinking water from a pond in the middle of a storm and a wildfire seen in the distance in the background. Sure. Okay, so this is a prompt. So we can use this multiple ways. We can literally just grab this plus thing here, drop it anywhere, and then select a image model. We can do multiple things. We can select video models. We can select text to video, or image models, or routers, or like LLM node, which we will go in detail. Just bear with me. We'll get there. But for now, let's just go to a image model. Okay, so Nano Banana 2 Lite is one of the best image models, is because it's not one of the best image models when it comes to consistency, the product, and ready to deliver visuals. It is, however, the best image model when it comes to speed. And so for the sake of this video, and actually it does pretty good job when it comes to like actual visuals, but when it comes to like when you're giving it references, a lot of references, it helps to have ChatGPT 2 because they cost more, sure. But hey, we got exactly that. Now, if you want to change, like scenes. Like you can make it. It's a very cinematic, dramatic scene. Okay, so now this is you basically doing manual work. This is not where Weavy's power shines yet. The Weavy's power shines when you add a little variable to it. So now basically variable is kind of like it's you just basically leave a provisioning for a fill in the blanks, and that filling the blanks can come from a different place. And I know it might be getting a little too deep in the weeds, but trust me, this is the most powerful. Like, I personally love this feature because that helps you create workflows in a way that you just give it one single prompt and it generates something really gorgeous for you. And so here we could just say scene and put a little colon or semicolon, whatever it's called. And then, so it will, instead of us having to write down, which will be hard coded, so like a very cinematic, dramatic scene, this will be very hard coded in the prompt. But we can just delete that and tell this time of the day. You see, instead of like literally writing it, making it a part of the prompt, we can just have variables. And then here we're going to give it another prompt node, put it in variable 1, give it another prompt node, which will attach it to variable 2. Now I'm going to delete this text, and I'm going to call this scene, and I'm going to call this time of the day. And you're going to see something really cool now. So there is one feature. So like workflow is basically you give it some information, AI does its thing, and then gives you the output. And now we are going to basically turn this into an app that generates an image of a pink horse. Okay, so now as you can see, as soon as we attached this node, output node, this little tool called tool appeared. And so we're going to click on that. Now this is an app. Okay, this is an app that we can literally use. So like all we got to do is just fill in the blanks. So scene, let's say by the pond, wildfire in the distance, and lots of cars burning and blowing up, ocean on one side, whatever. Time of the day, night, gloomy, whatever. Okay, just give it some keywords and then run. So now this has become an app. We don't need to touch the backend. We do not need to touch the backend. We could just literally give it some context and we have the results. So now this is power of weaving. This is what I love about it, the variables. And a lot of people just do not use variables. And this is very powerful thing, okay? Now this is a very simple example of apps. Now imagine having hundreds of nodes and you just give it maybe 3, 4, 5, 10 inputs, like these keywords, and it just does its thing, goes through multiple agents, does its own thinking, and gives you an output. That is what the dream is. That is what we want. So this is what we've covered now. Now we need to extend this workflow. We need to do more with it. We need to make it cooler, add some pizzazz to it. And so what we're going to do now is explore more nodes. And so we have this image. Now we can go at multiple routes. Let's first go show you LLM. So like, how do you use LLM? LLM right here. So essentially, when you want to add some models to do thinking for you, this is when you use LLMs. Okay. Now, if you want, so as you can see, as you know, we're working with horse that is pink. We can even add more variables here. We can add horse that is pink instead of pink. We can just add a variable here, combine it, drop it here, and add another prompt and just be like color of the horse. And now this will populate in the place of pink. Let's say green or bright green, actually even better, or neon green, whatever. And so you see bright green comes here and pops up here. You see, this is how we're kind of creating and working with the prompt. And so this is the beauty of variables. It's one of my favorite things here. And we run this prompt. And now you see in the tool, we'll only have like 3 options or 3 forms to fill, and we'll get the results. And as you can see, we'll probably soon get the bright green. There we go. You see, that's cool. And now any LLM. So this node is basically when we have a kind of a basis of the things to work with, or perhaps a different, like we want to give it some context that, okay, we're talking about this horse that is, in oh, time of the day, night, gloomy. Sorry, I forgot to put in the time of the day and stuff. Scene, wildfire, back and ocean on one side, very cinematic, film, grain, kinetic. Okay, so now basically this is kind of the starting point here. Now, if I wanted to have AI to do thinking, because like I don't want to write an entire storyline, and so I want AI to create a storyline for me, and so that is exactly what the LLM node is for. You can also use it to analyze images. You can use it to analyze, okay, tell me about the image. What is that image? And so you can give it the image reference, which we can dive into in a little bit. But like any LLM node is basically you telling the systems to do thinking based on some context. So you see, with any LLM, you can add 2 prompts. Actually, you can add as many prompts as you want by if you want to give it the prompt concatenator. But we have 2 prompt nodes here. We can give it a system prompt, which means that let me add it first. Which means that if we added a system prompt, this becomes a AI agent. Instead of just a LLM, it becomes an AI agent. So this system prompt, again, just like the other prompt, it can have variables. We can give it inputs and stuff, but it becomes like a hard-coded thing. Like this is what think of 10 storyline concepts about and write image prompts for each. Let's say only output image prompt, no commentary or anything else. Each image prompt must be separated by, let's say, this. Okay, so now we've got a prompt here. This is our system prompt. And so what it's going to do is going to take this horse concept here that we have. It's going to take it and analyze it, and it's going to create a storyline. And it's going to generate 10 concepts that are going to be back to back, and it's going to be a sequence. Well, we need to tell it that the story must be a sequence. Okay, and the context that it's going to use is going to be this, and we can also attach an image, and yeah. So we're just going to run a model. Let's use Opus 4.7 and run it and see what happens. And so now it's going to give us 10 concepts. Then those concepts we can use to generate more images, more storyline, whatever we want to do with that next. Okay. This is going to give you a really powerful way of using Weavy because it's going to make it work so much faster. So now we have 10 concepts. Now what we're going to do is continue this workflow into a array. So array is a feature. It's kind of like a separator. Okay. As you can see, automatically by default, it's separating by the star. But we told our agent to use this little thing. And I did that because sometimes agents, I'm not sure if you've seen when you're using ChatGPT, you get this star outlines and everywhere. So it's just cleaner to use this little thing. So as you can see, as soon as I put that in there, we got 10 concepts here. Now we are going to generate those 10 concepts, but we're going to use this one reference image so that each of the concepts can use one starting point and make sure that the scene looks coherent. We don't have to use it, but we could if we wanted to. But let's do it without and with. So now we're going to use a list selector. So what we want to do with list selector, we need to have 10 of these so that we can pass on information to our image models. And so we've got this list selector. So you got 6. Oh, my laptop is so slow. I'm sorry. Okay, now we've got list selectors. We need to make sure that they're all, connected with the concepts that we just generated. This is like the most patient tasks. Once it's done, you can literally, it's a breeze. It feels like it's very easy. Now, the job is not done yet. So now we've got 10 list selectors, but we need to configure them so that right now they're all connected to the first one, right? As you can see on the right side, the first one is just connected to first, which is good. But the second one's also selected. We need to make sure that it's the second here. And then the third one follows the third one, fourth as fourth, so on and so forth. We're going to connect them all one by one to make sure that, oh, I lost the, so I'm going to start from the bottom. I'm a very visual person. That's what I tell girls on dating apps too. Especially, anyways, just gonna get into too much detail. Okay, now we have, so basically we have prompts for each image. Okay, now we need to give it to the image model so that we can create images with those prompts. And first, we're gonna generate images without the the reference, and then so that you can see the power of a reference image. And when you are giving a reference to the models, it's good to let the prompt also know that you remember the system prompt that we created here. Let me show you in a second. Oh, my system is so slow, or Weavy is just slow. I don't know. It uses a lot of RAM, as you can probably see. Yeah, it's using high memory. Oh boy, why did I do that? Okay. So we're going to connect these prompts together and make sure they're connected at the right place. Since we have 10 concepts, we can generate 100 concepts if we wanted to, and just literally 10x this workflow and create so much content that we just never run out of content. You know, it's that cool. Okay, now we are connected with all these image models, and let's just run them. So I could, and in the meantime, I'll show you the references that we gave to the image models and stuff. All right, now these are running. So basically, when we are giving a reference image, we want to tell the system prompt that there is going to be a reference image. So in the prompt that it creates, in the concept that it creates, make sure to tell the models that there will be a reference image, and so that it writes all these prompts like, use the reference image to create a scene of XYZ. Okay, so that's what that's for. But essentially, as you can see, this is our movie. Okay, so the horse is basically escaping from the whatever storm. And so now I'm going to regenerate this, but this is essentially our concept. So as you can see, we have now generated, we started with an empty canvas. We have generated an app that can generate an image of whatever you like with a prompt that you like with just tiny little variables. And we've also generated 10 concepts. Now we can turn them into a video if we wanted to. Now you see, I could give it the reference of this image, but like it looks like all these images are pretty spot on. So like we don't really need to do that. Now we need to create a videos. And so in order to generate videos, the reason why I'm getting this node, this LLM, like those 10 concepts, is because I want the video models to know what to do with that particular frame, because I don't want them to create a story that we are not creating. And so in order to make sure of that, we need to tell it the story, right? And so that's why we're grabbing this node, and I'm going to grab it, and then we are going to, I think we should put it into prompt concatenator so that we can give it as a so prompt concatenator is a node that basically you can use in order to combine multiple prompts. Okay, but in this case, we don't really need to. Like we could have just used prompt, actually just a simple prompt node, which actually might be better. But now you know what prompt concatenator is. So I'm going to get rid of this, and we're going to use a simple prompt, and we're going to use that as a variable. You see, variable is one of the most powerful things, and things I love a lot because it's very useful. Okay, so all 10 concepts. Okay, now we're going to add a little variable. So first, we gave it all 10 concepts. Now we're going to give it your job is to, actually, we don't even need the second variable. We can just write the prompt here. Your job is to learn these 10 concepts. The frame you are given is one of these concepts. We will be using the image as the first frame for a 4-second video, let's say. your job is to write and only output a simple prompt that we can use in order to generate a video. And now we're going to give it instructions. Do not output anything else. Okay, so now we are telling this to basically just analyze the image that we're about to give it and generate a simple prompt that we will use in order to create a video from that prompt. And we will use that as a first frame. So now we need to give our LLM a image as well as a prompt. And so prompt is going to be this one. So as you can see, this is going to act as the prompt. And then we are going to give this image to this LLM so that it can analyze it and give us the, I'm going to run this model. And so it should output. So what it's going to do is we're going to give it, obviously, each of these 10 images that I'm only going to do one because I don't want to make this video super long. But essentially, we're basically going to take this image, give it to the LLM, and let it do its thing with the prompt and come up with a prompt. And as you can see, we got the prompt. And now we also then need to give this image and that prompt. So this prompt is now going to act like our prompt for the video model. And the video model that we're going to use is going to be Omni Flash Reference to Video, because it's just, I don't know, it's just fast. And so we gave it the first prompt, and this image is going to act as the reference for that video. And we're going to run it. I might be running out of limits on the, I think you can only make it a 30-minute. Oh yeah, we're good. We've got a few minutes. But yeah, so essentially it's going to run, it's going to use this image as the reference, as actually the starting frame. And then it's going to use this prompt, neon green horse drinking from a pond amidst heavy rain, lightning flashing, distant, you see, and then you'll see that this prompt reflected in the video, which is really, really dope. And yeah, it should be coming up soon. And I'm honestly really hoping that this video is being actually recorded, because I look at my little, oh, there it is. Let's not, yeah, let's focus on work. Okay, so this is our video. Oh, my internet, like my Weavy really freaking sucks. Okay, let's try it again. Not too bad, not too bad. So you see, you wouldn't use it, obviously, if you want to use like better models so that you can get better videos, for sure, you use that. But at the same time, you will also need better images. Like this is just to show you, but like you would, obviously, if you're creating movies, you don't want to automate that. But like this is for brand assets, and you can do some really cool stuff with that. Okay, so now we've got images. Now we can do the same thing for like all 10 of them and then combine them into one. And we have a video that is literally 100 seconds long. So that is your first lesson of Weavy.